Somebody said I should talk about D-Day. I feel like I just did on that firewall in color. Um, I don't feel like talking about that for some reason. I think this stuff is more important. And now I am going to wrap this show up. I'm going to write a letter to somebody who I've never met before or spoken to. And I am going to tell them in extremely personal detail how much what they have done has meant to me. And you know, I always this does have something to do with D-Day. I have a very strong aversion to defining down heroism. This teacher came in after school for 9 years and taught tutoring classes in mathematics. He's a hero. Well, okay, he's certainly somebody worthy of genuine praise, but hero is a little different. Same thing for courage. I have a real problem with talking down courage. When I say talking it down, I'm saying, well, that's a really courageous thing. Like, it's very courageous. He came out as a gay actor. What incredible courage it took. There's a big difference between that kind of courage and the physical courage of running into machine gun fire and seeing your friends explode. So I don't mean to equate these two. I just don't know what other word for it there is. I'm going to when I write this letter to this person, I'm gonna do what I do on this show. I'm gonna be absolutely honest, and I'm gonna just drop all my defenses and just tell the truth. And that actually does require a form of emotional courage. It's not the same as battlefield courage, but it's courage. It's a different kind of courage, and courage is the primary virtue. It's the one virtue that all of the other virtues depend on. It's the primary virtue is courage, and courage is not, as everybody says 100 times, absolutely true. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in the face of tremendous fear. Both of the people we talked about today both have medical fears and issues, and what's keeping you from addressing them is your pride. And having the courage to throw your pride away, which is your primary shield and defense, that's actual courage. When you have the courage to simply drop the shield of pride and just stand there and say, okay, do your worst. You got to find it, and you will find it. I have no doubt you'll find it. And if you don't find it between now and next week, then we'll give you another shot of booster shot of support. Nobody gets through this by themselves, and nobody cures themselves by themselves. Nobody gets healthy by themselves. It's not a commune, and it's not our responsibility. It's not our responsibility. We're not coerced into helping you. We're not having money taken out of our pocket at gunpoint so that the government can spend money on making you feel better and be delivered by some politician. We're just people who've all had our own problems and our own hardships, and we know what it's like, and we didn't like it, and people have come and rescued us, or we wanted them to, and now we have a chance to do it for somebody else. So just find the courage to put aside your pride and go and talk to somebody and tell them you need treatment for depression. You can tell them I sent you if you want. That ought to throw a lot of weight. Serious as I can be. I mean, this is what this whole episode turned out to be. Tell them I sent you. I've had all these problems and more. Tell them I sent you. And both of you, and for those of you who may be watching either on YouTube later after the recording, or other people are watching it now live, if you're going through some of this and you didn't say anything, that's fine. I understand that. I also, this applies to you too. So, there you go. It's 10 to 8. We've been going a little hour and 45 minutes or so. And while I would like to get to the questions, I don't feel like I could start on them and answer one or two of them with any degree of quality. Not that that's ever been an issue before. So what I will do is I will try and set that topic for next week. And I'll look at the topic suggestions now. And I suspect, oh, good for you, man. I'm not going to read that out loud. I'm just not. But God damn, good for you, pal. That's the attitude. You go out there, you just keep that in mind. And don't, you should write that down. I'm serious as I can be. What you just wrote there, Ian, you should write it down on a piece of paper, and you need to keep it in your pocket. And when you start feeling bad again, you read that piece of paper to yourself, and you remember that I told you that that is what's going to save you. That's the spirit. That's the spirit. Frickin' beautiful, man. Proud of that. That's just exactly, precisely what you need. I'm just as happy as I can be. It make me happier than anything I've seen in a long, long time. That's exactly, precisely the attitude. And write it down verbatim. Do it right now. Write it down, put it in your pocket. And the day's going to come when you have your beautiful wife and your lovely family and your nice house and your good job, and you can take that piece of paper and you can put it in a frame and you can put it on your mantelpiece and you can keep it there for the rest of your life to remind you of where you came from and how far you've come. Do it. Write it down. Put it on a piece of paper. Don't lose the paper. I always feel if I do less than an hour, I'm somehow just ripping you guys off, and God knows that's my intention. It's my business plan. But there's one other thing I guess I'll add to this, since he wrote that incredible thing. The power of symbols, and when I say symbols, I mean something you can actually physically touch, is really important. Really important. If you get into one of the 12-step programs, and if you're suffering from depression, then what you're going to find is that all of the drunks and the potheads and the crackheads and all the rest of those people are suffering from the same problem you are. They're suffering from depression and lack of self-esteem and loneliness, and they're just using drink or drugs to medicate themselves. But the reason that these 12-step programs work identically for alcoholics and gamblers and drug addicts is because it's the same disease, just different symptoms, different means of coping with it. But if you do find yourself in one of those meetings, and I cannot recommend it highly enough, you'll probably do what I do, which is sit there and listen and not say too much. And then at the end of every meeting, they go through a ritual. And it's a very important ritual. And they start off by saying, anybody want to, come up and get a white chip and start with this program, make a commitment to start to it. And I sat there for at least 5 meetings, at least that long. And finally, I talked a bit, but I wasn't going to go up there and get this thing. But finally, I just said, yeah, okay. And I stood up, and everybody applauded, and I went up there, and they gave me a white poker chip. It was just a cheap, white plastic poker chip. And it had NA stamped on it, but it wouldn't have mattered because it was just a symbol. It's a white poker chip, and and you'll hear alcoholics and addicts sometimes talking about their chips. And then, so that was a white chip. And then I don't remember the colors. I feel bad about not remembering the colors. If you did a month, you got a different colored chip. If you did 6 months, you got another colored chip. If you did a year, you got another colored chip. And I drilled a hole in those chips, and I put them on my key ring. And I had about 6 of them when I left. And that physical presence of that chip was something that gave me an awful lot of strength and gave me an awful lot of courage when I needed it. And there are a lot of people out there to help you, but the hard work you're going to have to do mostly by yourself. And I have no doubt that you'll do it, especially since that last response. It's just golden, man. You're going to be fine. All right, that'll do it for this edition of Dr. Bill's Psycho Evaluation 101, where we bring the worst cases of madness and insanity to the forefront and attempt to find some sort of cure, up to and certainly including electroshock, lobotomy, whatever it takes to get people back on the straight and level of conservative thought, which is, of course, nothing but strict rote obedience to authority and totalitarian fear of those people in power. So I'm always happy to add new people to the collective. Anyway, that'll do it. My Aurora Republic fans, I haven't been there. Friends, rather, I meant to say friends, believe me, probably a Freudian slip. But I haven't been playing the game for 2 weeks because that last patch was just miserable. But there's a new patch out, so you'll be seeing me back out there again. And we'll hang out and we'll do some more fun things on alien planets. And you don't get to pick your family, but you do get to pick your friends. All right. Well, that'll do it. Thanks for joining us, and it's great to see all of you, and it's great to get the support that I get from all of you, and this is certainly a two-way street. So hang in there, all of you people out there. You're not alone. You're really not. People really care about you, and I'm one of them. And we'll come back next week and we'll talk about something fluffy and ridiculous, and unless we don't, in which case we'll talk about something more serious. But either way, we'll be back. And it's just a real honor and a privilege to be around people like you. Yeah, we're real proud of you, and we're proud of you too, Martin, and all the rest of you out there who may be hearing this. Whoever you are, if it talked to you, and I'm using somebody else's name, that's just because it's coming in live. It applies to everybody equally, and believe me, we've been there. If you're watching this on YouTube and it feels like it's done you some good, then we certainly welcome you to watch the show live, which is on Twitch. We put it up on my Facebook page. We try and do it every Thursday. I miss every now and then, but I try to get it done. So we'd love to have you come in and meet the fams. All right, guys, that'll do it. I feel really good. I can't tell you how good I feel. And while I know this may sound extremely maudlin and cheesy, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, Ian, and thank you, Martin, and all the rest of you who've mentioned something. This burden of gratitude is not really a burden. Actually, it's the opposite of a burden. But it's nice for me to be able to pay some bills that I needed to pay. And that's an opportunity that I'm very thankful for. So you'll get to be on the other side of this, I have no doubt. Okay, well, that'll do it. I'm going to hit the stop streaming button now, and the stop recording button, and we will see you all next week right here on your very own Stratosphere Lounge show. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.